Hi, my name is Sylvester Brown Jr. Thank you for joining me for Take 5 Live. My guest today is Ron Himes, founder and producing director of the St. Louis Black Repertory Company.
Feeling adventurous? Want to spice up your life? Adventures in Spice leads the way in fresh spices that add flavor to your best dishes. Travel to foreign places with your taste buds and check out spice blends like gluten-free Mississippi Bend barbecue seasoning and rub, or Spanish seafood and rice season. Delve into your more adventurous side of savory dishes and take a look at the many spices we have for you to choose from at www.adventuresinspice.com.
I did not know what we were truly getting into.
Nature, untouched, untapped beauty.
It's a very poor village. The floor was dirt.
Going to Costa Rica, it has made me a better nurse.
I could walk up and grab this plant and go home and make this treatment.
There's so much more work to be done.
I wanted to serve. I wanted to help other people.
It was important for me to do something bigger than myself.
I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Welcome to Freedom Fitness, exercise of the future. We use the most innovative fitness technology to build better humans. In less than 20 minutes a week, we can show you exactly what you're capable of through our work, rest, grow philosophy, and precisely track your progress with our innovative Strength Hacker and artificial intelligence machines. Come optimize your body, mind, and spirit with a free demo at 904 South 4th Street or visit us at freedomfitnessstl.com.
Welcome back to Take 5 Live. My name is Sylvester Brown Jr. My guest today is Ron Himes, the founder and producing director of the St. Louis Black Repertory Company. Been around for 45 years now.
Starting the 45th season.
Year. And it's a pleasure to have you, Ron.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
It's a pleasure to be seen.
Okay. Well, my first question is, of course, COVID-19. I'm sure you thought we might have been out of it by now. But I'd like for you to give me a summary of what COVID-19 did to theater, live theater, and particularly the Black Repertory Theater.
I think that what it did was it showed our creativity, it showed our resilience, and it showed the ability to adapt quickly. We never shut down since March of 2019 when Spell Number 7, which was the show we had running, was forced to close down when everything closed down in the country. We have never stopped operating. We never laid off all our staff. We continued to program. We brought in a new cohort of interns who worked all last year during the shutdown, producing virtual work. And we managed to do that, to develop some new work, to do some stage readings of some plays, to do some panel discussions, and just found ways to stay in front of our public.
I interviewed a young actress and also an administrator with the Black Rep, and they both praised you for keeping the paycheck going throughout the COVID. How did you do that?
Well, my grandfather used to say, you got to know Peter and you got to know Paul, and that's how you make it. And so, but we had a lot of support. I think the fact that we didn't stop programming garnered us a lot of support. And I think the pandemic, coupled with, the realization of the epidemic of racism that this country has existed in and through with the murder of George Floyd, really opened up a new wellspring of support for companies who were out here doing the work, speaking to issues of social justice, speaking to issues of Black culture, and we managed to do that. And so we have sort of ridden the tide of support that was out there and found ways to garner support to be able to keep everybody with a paycheck.
Wow. Well, if you don't mind, travel back with me a little bit. Let's go back to 1976. What did you see in St. Louis or didn't see in St. Louis that gave you the idea that there needed to be a black repertory company?
What I didn't see was a black cultural institution with a home. Back then, there were several other black theater companies. You know, there was the Sudan Illustrators, there were the Vivian Womble Players, there were the Pisana Players, there was the Kutana Players. You know, there were a dozen or so, you know, theater companies. You know, we all were following Bag, you know, who had been here and were, you know, inspiring to me. But what I didn't see was an institution that had a facility. And I think that a facility really helps to ground an identity. You know, when people think of the major cultural institutions in town, you think about the Art Museum, it's that building on the hill in Forest Park. You think about the St. Louis Symphony, it's Powell Symphony Hall sitting down there on Grand. You couldn't do that with any black cultural institution. And so we began to, you know, perform where we could, all through the community, churches, community centers. As a matter of fact, we were doing a production in a building that no longer exists on Page and Union. I think it was called the Victory Center.
Okay, yeah.
And we had rented it. We had mounted a production of a play called The Brownsville Raid by Charles Fuller.
Okay.
The directors of the old Greeley Community Center came to see the performance one night, waited afterwards, introduced themselves to me, and told me that they had an old sanctuary down on the corner of 23rd and St. Louis Avenue.
I remember that.
That was attached to the Greeley Community Center.
Right.
And I should come down to look at the space. And so I did, and you know, we talked and they said, we can make the space available to you. What we want you to do is teach classes to the kids in the neighborhood, be a community resource. And that's exactly what I wanted to be, you know. We had been active, you know, I'd been an activist, politicized early, and found theater as a way to continue to speak out, to raise issues, and to continue to celebrate our rich heritage and culture. And that building gave us the ability to be able to do that.
Wow. Okay, I got to tell you about this experience I had. This was in the early 90s. And I think you were at the Sheldon at that time, right around the corner from the Fox Theater. I remember driving by, and outside the Fox Theater was a long line of black folks there to see one of Tyler Perry's plays.
Oh, yeah.
But around the corner was you. It was a much shorter line, and more whites than blacks. And I always thought, how did you feel at that time? Because you were bringing, you know, August Wilson, Sam Fuller, classics to the community, but yet around the corner. Did that bother you, or?
You know, it did for a while. And then I realized that, you know, hopefully it would change things around. I think that, you know, for a lot of people in our community, it was a matter of exposure, a matter of, you know, having been brought up knowing to go to the theater, having been brought up to know how to support cultural institutions. And, you know, back then, you know, Tyler was able to speak to audiences and to speak to a community on a level where he found a common denominator that really resonated with the masses. And so, you know, my counterparts around the country, you know, people were all really upset with Tyler Perry and, you know, the level of his work and the productions and the images that they were perpetuating, which, you know, at the most were negative and stereotypical. And so my hope was at some point, people will take this as a first exposure and want more and want better. And I think that that has happened over the years. It's happened for him, you know. He still pretty much, you know, produces the same kind of work, but, you know, now he's got better actors.
Yes, and a lot of actors you haven't seen since, you know, the 70s and 80s.
Exactly.
That he's now employed.
Right, and so, you know, I think that you have to meet people where they are. You know, of course, I always wanted, you know, and our target audience has always been the black community. I used to always say back then that, you know, what a level of success for me would be to be recognized on the Lee River Roads bus. Right?
And have you reached that?
Oh, you know, I don't know, you know, but it's a thing, you know. So it was much more important to me that North St. Louis knows the black rep, that North St. Louis knows the shows and looks forward to our programming, and that, you know, just like there are people who have season tickets at the symphony and the opera that they pass down in their families, that people would begin to do that at the black rep. That if you had season tickets to the black rep, that was something that you passed down to your children.
I would say that you've been somewhat successful when I go, because I see people, average, who know what the black rep is, and feel a little guilty that they haven't been to a black rep production in a while.
Right, and you know, and the thing that I see is young people who we taught, who we trained, who will stop me in the lobby. You know, now they've gone on, they're working in corporate or they're doing their own thing, and they'll say, you know, Mr. Hines or Ron, I got season tickets, you know, and they're proud of that. And, you know, and then there are also people who had season tickets on St. Louis Avenue, which means that they've had season tickets for over 30 years, and they're proud of that. And so, you know, we're here because of that kind of support. When we didn't have corporate support, when we didn't have philanthropic support from the local foundations and, you know, the philanthropic community of St. Louis that supports all of the major cultural institutions, even when they included us in conversations about the major cultural institutions. They didn't say that we're not supporting them like we support the other majors. So it had to be people, the masses were supporting us. And I think that we've been able to ride that and, you know, use it to sustain us until we reach the level of support that has allowed us to expand our staff, expand our programs, and look forward to season 50.
We'll be right back with Take 5 Live with Ron Himes, founder and producing director of the St. Louis Black Rep.
A home is an investment for the long term, and your home's foundation is the key to protecting that investment. For wall cracks, settling, water problems, or an unsealed crawl space, call Woods Basement Systems for a solution that delivers comfort and security for years to come.
Welcome to Freedom Fitness, exercise of the future. We use the most innovative fitness technology to build better humans. In less than 20 minutes a week, we can show you exactly what you're capable of through our work, rest, grow philosophy, and precisely track your progress with our innovative Strength Hacker and artificial intelligence machines. Come optimize your body, mind, and spirit with a free demo at 904 South 4th Street or visit us at freedomfitnessstl.com.
Feeling adventurous? Want to spice up your life? Adventures in Spice leads the way in fresh spices that add flavor to your best dishes. Travel to foreign places with your taste buds and check out spice blends like gluten-free Mississippi Bend barbecue seasoning and rub, or Spanish seafood and rice season. Delve into your more adventurous side of savory dishes and take a look at the many spices we have for you to choose from at www.adventuresinspice.com.
I did not know what we were truly getting into.
Nature, untouched, untapped beauty.
It's a very poor village. The floor was dirt.
Going to Costa Rica has made me a better nurse.
I could walk up and grab this plant and go home and make this treatment.
There's so much more work to be done.
I wanted to serve. I wanted to help other people.
It was important for me to do something bigger than myself.
I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Welcome back to Take 5 Live. Joining me today is Ron Himes, founder and producing director of the St. Louis Black Repertory Company. So Ron, what do we have coming up?
Season 45. We're opening with the Pulitzer Prize winning play by Lynn Nottage, Sweat, which will open September 8th and run through September 26th at the Edison Theater on the campus of Washington University. We'll follow that in January with a production called Don Trail Who Kissed the Sea, which is by a young writer, Nathan Allen Davis, which will run in January. It will also run at the Edison Theater at WashU. And then in February, we're moving into the black box space in the Mallinckrodt Center, which is around the hall from Edison. It's called the Hotchner Studio Theater. We're doing a wonderful small play called Fireflies, which is written by Danja Love. And then we are moving off the WashU campus for a change to go to the new theater at Coca, the Burgess Theater, where we'll be producing a play by Charlie Avon Simpson, a play called Behind the Sheet. And then we'll close the season in May with a production of August Wilson's Jitney.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're bringing in?
And then coming up after September and between the January show is our annual gala. And the gala this year, which is held at the 560 Music Center, and this year we are bringing in the world-renowned Grammy Award-winning Fisk Jubilee Singers.
Okay.
Also at that event, we will be giving Lifetime Achievements Awards to Starletta Dupois, and locally to Denny Reagan, who will be retiring after 50 some odd years at the Muni.
Now last year the gala was virtual.
Last year the gala was virtual, and last year we honored Tashara Jones,
Okay.
Congressman Cori Bush, and Kim Gardner.
Okay. And this year it's going to be?
This year it will be live. We're counting on it being live. We're counting on Sweat being live at the Edison Theater.
Okay.
Social distancing will be in place.
Right.
We'll probably be operating at about 50% of capacity to make sure that we're able to make sure that people are social distanced and comfortable.
Okay. I know our time is being short, but I want to ask you about Ron Himes' journey. Mm-hmm. How did you go from Ron Himes, the boy, to Ron Himes, the founder of the St. Louis Black Repertory Theater?
Well, Ron Himes, the boy, I always said was like a ball boy. You know, I played ball all the time, baseball, football, basketball, that's what we had to do in the neighborhood where I grew up. I mean, growing up, I knew nothing about the arts, nothing about an acting class or dance classes. I tell people all the time, the only arts I knew about was the lady at church who taught piano lessons, right? Mm-hmm. But I was exposed rather early, late, I guess, in a lot of ways now when I look back. But I was fortunate enough when I went to high school that I was in the honors program. And part of being in the honors program is that we were taken on field trips to the major cultural institutions in town. And also, I was exposed early to the Black Artist Group and followed them around a lot. Still with no real interest in being an artist myself. I guess I was absorbing it all. And then second semester year of college, junior year, I took a dare from a couple of young ladies, sisters, who dared me to audition for a play. I auditioned for the play, enjoyed it, was pretty good in the role. Graduated a couple of semesters after that and decided that I didn't really want to be an accountant. Had a degree in business administration, didn't want to go get an MBA, and remembered that theater stuff was kind of fun. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so also had a friend who graduated from WashU who was working at a company called the Theater Project Company, which was in residence at the old Union Station. And they were looking for a black actor for a show that they were doing, and I went and auditioned, got cast in that. And between working at the Theater Project Company and sort of keeping the Black Rep going, which we had started as a student group on campus, it just sort of 1 year turned into 5 years, turned into 10 years, turned into 45 years.
Right. I don't want to get political on you, but there is this great pushback. It's called critical race theory, but it really is criticism of black history being taught to kids.
Right.
You teach kids through theater.
Right.
And black, white, all kinds of kids. Do you plan to adjust what you teach and how you teach in public schools?
Not at all. What we do, what we have always done, what I profess to do, is to teach American history from a black perspective.
Yes, sir.
And what we find is that there are black stories that have been omitted, have been erased, and it is part of our mission and purpose to fill in the blanks of American history as to the contributions, the history of what black people have done and contributed to make this country what it is. When people want to push back and talk about a lack of patriotism or loyalty for black people, show me an American war where black people didn't die.
Yeah.
Show me who died, who was one of the first people to die in the American Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Crispus Attucks. Now, you don't want people to know that?
Right.
We can't teach that,
Right.
right? The Buffalo Soldiers, the Red Tails, the Tuskegee Airmen, you know?
Right.
They don't teach that. I didn't learn that in school.
Right. Right.
I know lots of young people who didn't know anything about the Tuskegee Airmen till we did a play in the 1990s by Leslie Lee called Black Eagles.
Right.
That was before the film Red Tails was made.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You take the whole canon of work by August Wilson,
Right.
which looks at the 20th century decade by decade of what black folks have done and had to go through and experience in this country for a whole century.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't do those plays.
Right. Right.
We can't teach those messages.
Right.
No, we will continue to do what we have always done, what we have found necessary, what brought us into being because there was a void. And as I say, the void persists.
Lastly, because we're running out of time, but we lost Linda Kennedy in 2019. I think the last time I saw her was with you in Fences. I think that was 2019. Briefly, what did Linda mean to you and to the Black Repertory Theater?
Lifelong friend, partner. We probably played husband and wife 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
We had sort of a telepathy between us, you know. I knew what she was going to be doing. We didn't have to, think about it. We didn't have to necessarily rehearse. From doing, things in the schools and working together for years,
Yeah.
we just sort of,
Yeah.
had that sort of telepathic thing between us.
Yeah.
Miss her dearly.
Yeah. She was truly a true force.
Oh yeah.
In Black
Oh
art,
yeah.
Black art theater.
I used to always say probably one of the finest actors in America.
All right, we got to wrap this up. Any wishes, goals as we go into 2021?
Well, I think that, a good wish is to pick up on your 1990 memory of that long line of black folks at the Fox. We hope that long line will now come to the Edison Theater.
I hope so too.
We hope that, the philanthropic community will understand that in order to truly have equity, diversity, and inclusion, it starts with philanthropy, and that black cultural institutions need to be supported as all other major cultural institutions are.
Yeah. Well, Ron, it's been truly a pleasure to have you as one of my first guests, and good to touch bases with you again.
Always good to see you.
All right.
Yes.
This has been Take 5 Live with my guest, Ron Hines. I'm your host, Sylvester Brown. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you again.
Feeling adventurous? Want to spice up your life? Adventures in Spice leads the way in fresh spices that add flavor to your best dishes. Travel to foreign places with your taste buds and check out spice blends like gluten-free Mississippi Bend barbecue seasoning and rub, or Spanish seafood and rice season. Delve into your more adventurous side of savory dishes and take a look at the many spices we have for you to choose from at www.adventuresinspice.com.
what we were truly getting into.
Nature, untouched, untapped beauty.
It's a very poor village. The floor was dirt.
Going to Costa Rica has made me a better nurse.
I could walk up and grab this plant and go home and make this treatment.
There's so much more work to be done.
I wanted to serve. I wanted to help other people.
It was important for me to do something bigger than myself.
I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Hi, I'm Lady Franks. I am the author of I Want My Body Back. Keep watching the On Your Now show on the TV network.